What up, traders? What up, investors? Ken here from Dyslexic Investor. We are going to be looking at PLTR, ticker symbol PLTR. I have seen, just to give you a quick summary, quick synapse, quick splooge of information at you real fast. We're going to be looking at the stock. Is it overvalued, undervalued? I think you can just throw a coin in the air and really figure that out, meaning it's 50-50 depending on what base you want to look at. And if you're looking at future earnings, previous earnings, if you're a value investor, it's just going to be coming down to a different coin. But more or less, on the really absurd amount of things that I do see about this company, we're going to be diving into a little bit more of a lengthier video and getting into the nitty-gritty of things and going bit by bit, and how I personally am a PLTR long-term investor in the stock, looking at some of the price targets that I've seen via Twitter and all the other folks, of giving it like a 100, 400, 4,000 price target on the crazy bulls. I don't know what they're smoking or what they're taking, but those are pretty astronomical targets for something that is just somewhat getting cemented and just trying to grow and build out its business model, honestly. And that's just my honestly fact. So if you're watching this video and you're expecting me to tell you to buy PLTR and it's going to go to 400 in the next year or so, Godspeed. Go to the next video. I don't see that happening, but I could be wrong. I would love for it to go to 400. Don't get me wrong, but I have to be reasonable. Some of these price targets that I see out here are absolutely insane on giving a price multiple of that just goes through the roof. So let's get started here. We're going to be jumping into Kaufman. I always forget how to pronounce this, but this is a nice little software that I use. It's a web app. It's basically a Bloomberg terminal for penny pinchers like myself, and it really has everything broken down from the fundamental side. I don't use it for charting. I use it for more just gauging data from that. You can kind of see it. I like the little layout. It's very simplistic, very easy to use. I highly recommend trying it, and just going from there again. And if you do try it, if you hit them up, tell them that Ken sent you as well. So this, again, it kind of gives you nice little information on the top. It tells you their next earnings, what sector they're in, the software company, their market cap, their PE ratio. Let's not look at that right now. I don't really care too much about that. Then it kind of gives you like the 3-month return. But again, this stock has not even been out for a year. So you have to be very mindful about that, the volume and so forth. And then some more other performance over the last month, 3 months, and the year to date. It kind of gives you over here the short interest over here, and it kind of gives you this cool little graph at the highest point, like in February, it was up to nearly 6%. That's always very interesting to see that, especially on a graphing side. Kind of gives you some potential competitors there, like FireEye, Unbox, and things like that, which I don't completely agree with being competitors in that space. I think Palantir has really cemented their own strong position. Again, what they're going to be competing against is almost the defense companies, to be quite honest with you. Then you can kind of see here their market cap, and you can see it's kind of been really what the stock's been doing. The total debt has also been going up here. You see cash and inventory as well, enterprise value, all kinds of really unique stuff. Then you have the all-important sales. So later in the video, we're going to be looking at the Palantir Foundry in Gotham and just do a very quick overview, because I think most people haven't even watched the demos, honestly, and haven't even watched the simple 5 or 4 minute videos discussing and looking at the potential and what the system can do for basically the government, and then of course for companies, with the Foundry being more on the enterprise side of folks. So sales, you can see here, these are all forecasting. You can see it's going up to 1.46 billion, 1.9 billion, then 2.4 billion. 5.4 billion. And you can kind of see that's been a nice year-to-date change of nearly 30% plus. That's pretty decent. And even though you had the CEO Alex say that, hey, we're investing heavily, so any kind of revenue that's coming in, we're going to be putting that right into R&D. So don't expect a dividend, buybacks, all that kind of stuff. They don't sip that kind of tea, and really see this really kind of come out. You can go into the descriptions as well. Gives you a little, whatever, kind of same stuff that we just talked about, a little bit more compelling look at this one. They have like this price target analysis tab here, which I haven't read too much about. I haven't read the complete manual on this, but you can kind of see here on the bottom here, let me get my face out of the way real fast. Let's see here. How do I do that? Boom. So you get my face out of here. You can kind of see here what, if it's a strong buy hold from the analyst, which, let's be honest, I don't really look at that as well. You kind of, it's basically the conviction right now is a hold. So take that with a grain of salt. And then their price targets here is basically kind of like a rubber band, almost like a reversion kind of thing, where they have like the 40 high, which was basically the all-time high that we saw, and then like the low around 15, and like in medium is around 25.57. So I'm not sure how they're kind of compiling that, but very interesting to see at least. Earnings overflow, estimates on the estimates of overview, of course, on growth, revenue, and so forth. Growth again 3.9% on that. Then you can really see here the growth here year over year. Again, last year was fantastic. They're saying again, the last earnings call, they said, hey, we're going to be seeing 2 or 3 years of slower growth. So this is where it's coming down to, where I'm seeing these people make these absolutely insane price targets of saying it's going to 400, 300, 150. The growth is really not there right yet. Again, they're building this foundation on these very really like future driven models and their R&D within the company. And we'll get to the stock here in a second on the chart side of views and going into that. But I really just want to highlight the sense of like, hey, if you're really going to be trading PLTR, I won't even say trading it. If you're investing in it, you're going to be hitting some bumps and some other various key features from that. This even breaks down the whole balance sheet as well. So if you, on the fundamental side, it really breaks it down to that. It's actually really fantastic. Of course, you have the news tab here as well on anything related from outside of the thing. You have the Twitter feed here on people pinging about this. That's always very interesting to look at. Company filings. Looks like there's no data loading here. And then transcripts from, again, the earnings, which is always, so if you're true supporter and investor, you need to be reading them or listening to them as well there. And of course, the graphs, like I said, I don't usually use them for, but again, they are pretty really nice to use. So that is that little looking at there. So let's kind of just jump into their products. The products are quite diverse. Of course, we're going to be jumping into the Foundry first. So Foundry is basically their tool for the enterprise company, and everything from logistics to infrastructure to selling of online data to financial services, all kinds of things. And it's so unique in the sense on how they're able to compile all this data and make sense of it. Companies spend millions and billions of dollars on this and take years to really sort this stuff out. And basically, I highly recommend watching the demo. The demo really goes into great detail here on
object actions are a powerful.
So this is like their dashboard for the software. You can add different components into it. The very intense seeing this graph here. So imagining all of these little line graphs and bars are actually going to an object. So imagine these are all linked to your different financial services, your ERP stuff, your whatever your company does. You can connect to and see bottlenecks in real time. You can see if there's any problems ASAP rather than just waiting for like a weekly, monthly report. You can see things happen in real time because these are not just continuously pushing data. So it's all going to be coming out to data, and giving the company the best resources to succeed and really see and profitable. Again, cutting out bottlenecks, cutting out wasted space or time, and creating these really, really insane like workflows. This is the part where I like. This was quite the way
how data is mapped into the ontology to generate a dynamic model of the organization that powers decision-making downstream. In order to make even better decisions, your team needs more than just data. Oftentimes, operators rely on models to help them understand the potential impacts of decisions before they make them. These models can be as complex as deep learning and artificial intelligence, or as simple as logic, like adherence to standards. By mapping models to that ontology, we create a system-wide simulation engine that powers what-if analyses that were previously impossible. Users at every level of...
So, okay. That's mind blown, okay? So, what if? So, what if we lose XYZ customer and they go to somewhere else? Like, how does that impact our business? That's the basic logical things. But what happens on the more data-driven stuff? So, there's another example within the deck here, which is quite fantastic. So they partnered with Ferrari, the Formula One team, and really created their own simulation on what if scenario. So of course, if you're not familiar with F1 racing, these cars are like highly technical, sensor-driven data machines, and there's like hundreds of sensors all around the car in real time. The crew team is monitoring not just tire pressure to the gas lines to the aerodynamic components to heating and cooling and all these other various components. So Palantir created a live simulator so they can simulate hundreds of different things, hundreds of different scenarios, and see this all stuff in real time. That's just wow, right? That's insane. So highly recommend. Most people, I honestly don't believe it. If you can ask anyone who says that they're PLTR investor, ask them a couple easy questions and to see if they're able to answer, because I think most people are not. So now we're going to be getting into the nitty gritty stuff, which they're currently have been known for. And this is stuff, this is going to blow your mind on the Gotham selection. So this is going to jump into a scenario of something happening at an embassy, and then having the traction and then the real-time data to kind of track the mission. And this is, I hate this. It looks like almost like this video game here. So if you see this little, the tool here, let's just kind of just zoom in here real fast. Can't zoom in. What's the control? There we go. So you can kind of see here on this little computer screen here, it's literally their same kind of interface where you have the Palantir like band across of it, but it links to different various systems, to cameras of embassies, to live data streams from other news sources, other data driven stuff, and it really gives you a real-time action plan on how things could escalate if need be. So for example, if an embassy in Africa or somewhere else in the world, looks like this was in the Middle East or Turkey, I can't tell, gets attacked, there are situations that the person on the other side of the world could maintain, and what is at his fingertips to put out UAVs. Can I call on support chopper? Can I call in for an escalation for evacuating all the staff? It has a list of all the staff that are currently in the building. It's like boom, like it is insane amount of data, and it's just so well presented. It honestly looks like a video game. So watching the demo is insane. Like it's quite mind-boggling. You kind of see here, a little bit here, so you can kind of see it in action. You see here, okay, we have this incident, United States, blah blah blah. We can call in this division. Let me just log in real fast and deploy and let the nodes know what's going on and mission plan. And again, this is looking at the satellite imagings, and it uses the data, which again, I don't know who's providing these maps here. It looks like MAXAR are the maps, which again, I know Ryan within the Discord has been talking about nonstop, so I have to look at that one with 100% detail. This is super interesting to see here. You can see the different layers that they added, different routes to this different safe house. Like, this is insane. Like, this is the stuff that you see like on a movie that they pretend that they have, but this is actually knowledge. It's like, hey, these are different routes from the safe house to the embassy to vice versa, what could be potential issues, what there could be, like you see a church, a school here highlighted on here. Insane, like absolutely insane. Like I wish more people would understand this honestly and then look at it. This is why I just think it's absolutely fantastic. I haven't seen anything like this in my life on this kind of technology and just the continuous R&D, which again they're continuously throwing money at it to grow it. So on that note, looking at Foundry, look at Gotham. I know this video is getting a little bit long-winded here, but the thing I also look to is at Google Trends. So Google Trends, if you're not familiar with it, just Google Trends, and you can type in almost any keyword, and it tells you what the search volume or the momentum in it. As you can see here, it's pretty getting low here on the end of March into April here. You see a lot of people at the District of Columbia, DC, searching for Palantir. So hopefully they're getting a boatload of contracts. So Godspeed to them. And then of course you can also just type in PLTR here as well. And of course you kind of see the same thing. That's kind of been somewhat dying down. But you see on the very tops here, which would happen in February. And once we go into the charts, you can kind of see that was kind of that topping pattern that we saw here. So in conclusion, let's go ahead and run the chart. So I want to be, again, 100% clear with you folks out there that, hey, me love PLTR, but me don't love people making really insane information that's not even true and the giving price targets that are way through the roof. So looking at price target and where things could be going, we can just turn to the most simplistic way on the options chain. So the options chains, the bell curve, as they can say, is expecting for the year to date to be only up about $12, potentially 68% are saying about to $12. So $12, guess what? Would kind of put it to like $35, $36, which I completely agree with, to be quite honest with you. In the fact of like we saw the revenue numbers, we've talked. The CEO has talked in depth about, hey, we're not going to be shooting at the lights with just giving a dividend, buybacks, and we're really focused on building the infrastructure, building our pipeline, and R&D nonstop. So what does that mean? That means the stock could get a little choppy. There could be swings up and downs, but you have to go with the flow. There's just going to be a lot of swings. That being said here, we have seen that top around $45, which was absolutely insane. If you remember December timeframe, which we had Citron come out with a short report, and of course Wall Street Bets people got a hold of this one last year in 2020, and it just kind of went gangbusters. Let's call it that. As of right now, we're seeing it kind of come down here a little bit. We are trading into some reasonable prices here. I think it potentially could still go lower. Let's be honest here. I think that it is catching a little bit of a bid here. Coming in today, it's nearly up 7% here. Some key targets we want to look for is to really break above $25. So that's going to be a very interesting point to look at if PLTR can get above that price target. The RSI has been beat down, and the volumes on oscillator is going from negative into positive territory, but that could be also a dead cat bounce. So I'm not really aligning myself completely to the chart. And I'm more myself looking at the chart might have gotten ahead of itself a little bit too far before it can really kind of come down and create some kind of level. So initially speaking, I'm not really looking at this chart on a daily chart. I'm actually more looking at on a weekly side. And again, the company's only had 2 earnings, okay? It's been out less than a year, so there's a lot of still headway where things could be coming out. We did have company lockups go away, so after 6 months as the company goes out, those lockups do dry up, so potentially did see some selling coming in there. It's usually after the second earnings, you can kind of see there was some volatility around there. As of right now, we're looking for some short-term support around 2150. That's going to be the 3 candlesticks here on the weekly side, which we've seen some reasonable support at. But if we do see the 5 and 8 which is the purple and white line here, cross through the 21 EMA, and we can continue to see some chop going through here, this thing can easily come back down to $20 to $19 to the low end if it goes out of favor. Because again, this is what I'm talking about. Like it doesn't, these stocks, a lot of these meme stocks, I hate to use that word, but I have to use it, can fall out of favor. You can get rid of some really weak hands. As you can see, a lot of people are talking about it in the sense of the community of trading and investing folks. So that could be potentially creating a little bit of a run up and a little bit of a fad. But I think once those weak hands do flush out, and if we do get an overall bid in the economy, we get more of a movement higher, and especially the technology realm, I think that this thing could definitely come back. So looking at some potential price targets that we could be looking at. So just doing it from a very basic fib analysis here, we're going to be looking at a couple movements here. Initially, that $21.50, $21 is be that level of support. And then that $20 to $17.42 is going to be that stronger support to the downside. Upward pressure is going to be really coming in around $26.95 and then really up to $31.21 there. So $31.21 to $37 is going to be potentially what we could see if the bull case comes through for PLTR this year. So those are my price targets. So I'm going to be putting in some lines there, and I'm actually going to put a line in the sand here as well. I'm going to draw a price target line there, and then let me delete that. Edit that, and we're going to call that 2021 PT there, and then we're going to show it. Boom, there. That's what we're going to be looking for potential. That's my price target. To the downside, I think if it does go lower, which again, I'm more of an optimist on these longer term trades, but it's willing to go lower. I don't have full size in the position that I want yet. I think it could go lower. So again, that 1850 range could come into play if we do see a selling of some weak hands come through. So on that note, I hope this was an educational video, that you learned something. And if you did, I would greatly appreciate a thumbs up and a subscription if you do figure that I consider it. I would say please consider it. On that note, ladies and gentlemen, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Again, if you can't do it twice, that'd be fantastic if you could. But if you're interested, on the Discord, that's down in the description. Also, a couple affiliate links if you're looking into opening a trading account with Tastyworks. Highly recommend it. That's what I use for trading. If you open an account of $2,000 or more, you get a chance to select 100 option or 100 shares or 10 call options from their pool that they update on a daily basis. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a fantastic day, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Peace.